Welcome students. Now we are going to discuss about the next artificial construction material, that is types of cement. Cement. So our new product, it is a cement. So as we discussed in earlier chapter about a cement are considered to be hydraulic because their ability to set and harden under or within a contact of water through the hydration reaction. So cement is considered to be a binding material, and due to its properties it can bind cohesive as well as adhesive materials together, and that's why it is a most usable and most important parameter in a concrete. There are two types: those that are active with the addition of water, and pozzolanic that develops the hydraulic property when interact with the hydrated lime. So pozzolanic, any siliceous material that develops a hydraulic cementitious properties, that is called as a binding property when interact with the hydrated lime. The hydraulic cements, first the hydraulic lime only used in a specified mortars made from the calcination of the clay rich limestones. The natural cements, these are misleadingly called Roman. It is made from the aggregates limestone and interbedded limestone, clay, shale, and with the few raw materials because they were found to be inferior to the Portland, and most plants switched. So cement generally it is a construction material used as a binding material which can bind together as sand aggregates, and that's why due to its property it gets a more important in a concrete structures. The next type, that is a Portland cement, artificial, that is a artificial cement made by the mixing of clinker with the gypsum in a ratio of 95:5 ratio. Then Portland limestone cement, that is a large amount, 6 to 35% of limestone is utilized, added with the filler to the Portland cement base. Then blended cement, that is a blending mix. It is a mixed proportion of Portland cement with the one of the more supplementary cementitious material like pozzolanic additives. Then masonry cement, that is Portland cement where other material have been added with the sand along with the cement. Then aluminous cements, that is a combination of limestone with the bauxite are the main raw material, and limestone having a great percentage of alumina, and bauxite is mixed to get a plasticity, and that's why it is called as aluminous cement. So let me discuss with the what is manufacturing process of the cement. The manufacturing process include two types, that is dry process and the wet process. Let me discuss both the processes. First of all, dry processes. In dry process, the raw material are crushed, dry and fed in the correct proportion into the grinding mill where they are grinded well and reduced to a very fine powder. So the raw material, that is a limestone, is crushed, dried and fed into the grinding mill for the grinding, proper grinding. So we will get a finer powder. The dry powder called as a raw meal is then further blended and corrected for its right composition and mixed by means of compressed air. The steam or the compressed air has been passed out, so we will get a correct proportion or the correct composition. The aerated powder tends to behave almost like a liquid, and it is about 1 hour for the aeration process. Then the blended meal is further sieved and fed into the rotating disc called as a granulator. The quantity of water is approximately about 12%. So in dry process, the quantity of water is less. In wet process, about 40% of water is added, and in dry process, we are added only 12% of water. Then this is done to permit the airflow for exchange of heat for the chemical reaction and conversion of same into a clinker form. The clinker are the finer form that finer form, and which is added with the 2% of gypsum while crushing. So gypsum or the bauxite in wet process we are adding a bauxite as an additional material, and here we are adding the gypsum while crushing the clinker, and that turned into a powder form. This process is used when the raw material is either cement rock or blast furnace like. The dry process consists of the following steps. First, the raw materials are separately crushed to a 2-degree or smaller piece in gyratory crusher. Then crushed raw materials are dried in rotary dryers. Then the raw materials are mixed in proper proportion by automatic weighing machine, and then mixture is pulverized. Then the mixture is burned into a rotary kiln. The the rotary kiln is steel cylinder and lined with the fire bricks. Head is 50 to 80 meter in length and 3 meter in diameter. Then during the heating or sintering, limestone decomposes, alumina and the silica combine, and product obtained is a clinker. So in preparation, the alumina, silica they are added, and the gypsum is also added along with the water. So the percentage is about 2 to 3% of gypsum. So here it is a flow chart for the dry process. So here it is first a raw material, then crushing, stored in a silos, then aggregates materials, washing with the water, dried, and then they both are mixed. So alumina and silica is stored over here, aggregate is stored over here. After crushing and converted to the clinker form, they are mixed together along with the alumina and silica. Then pulverization means converted into a finer particles. Then they are rotated. Then air is passed. Then grinding, and during the grinding we are adding the water about 12%, and then gypsum is added. So the final product is about Portland cement. Then wet process. In wet process, the limestone brought from the quarries, that is a raw material, crushed into a smaller fragmented. Then it is taken to the ball mills or the tube mill, where it is mixed with the clay and shale. So here it is mixing material are the clay and shale. In case ground to a finer form and forms a slurry. Then the slurry is in a liquid form. The water is added about 30 to 40%. So as I said, in dry process about 12% of water is added, and in wet process we are adding the 30 to 40% of water. Then they are crushed to the finest of Indian standard sieve number 9 are held in the suspension. The slurry is pumped to the slurry tanks or the basin, where it is kept or agitated condition by means of the rotating arms. Then the composition of the slurry is tested to give the required chemical composition and corrected periodically in the tube. And finally, the corrected slurry is stored in the final storage tank and kept in a homogeneous condition. Then the slurry is spread on the upper end of the rotary kiln against the heavy heaping cans. Then the rotary kiln is important component of the cement's factory, where the cement or the slurry is rotated and the air is passed out or the water is passed out, and other compositions are added in a rotary kiln only, so they will mixed together. Then the kiln is fired from the lower end. The fuel is powdered coal, oil, or the natural gases. By the time the material rolls down to the lower end of the rotary kiln, the dry material undergoes a series of the chemical reactions. So the materials are mixed up well. The dried material will comes up when it rotates towards the upward direction, and downward will be comes up whenever it comes down. So that is a process. Then the lime, silica, and the alumina combined, and the fused mass turned into a modular form of size 3 to 22 known as a clinker. So lime and silica is added. Then there we add the bauxite or the gypsum of about 2 to 3%. Okay. So due to the addition of the gypsum and the bauxite, the cement get in a plastic stage, it having a good plasticity, and they can sustain for the longer time. That is a profit. So that is a difference between the dry and the wet process. There it is a flow chart. Clay and the water is added, wash mills, then it is stored, then carried out to the grinding or rotary kiln. Then there is a limestone crusher storage basin. Then it comes to the here. Then limestone, clay, and the water are added together. They blended together, stored, then carried out to the rotary kiln, where it is turned to the powder form. Then some gypsum is added, gypsum or bauxite is added about 2 to 3%. Then carried out to the ball mills and then stored into the silo. That is a process of manufacturing of cement. Then what is the heat of hydration? So as we know that cement having different compositions in which the silica is the most uh, mostly added constituent, then lime, and which having acidic property, due to which when it is react with the water, heat is liberated. That reaction is called as a heat of hydration reaction. So what are the different types of cement? That is ordinary Portland cement, white cement. Then what are the different uses of the cement? So for many types of construction, we are using the cement like a building construction material, like floors, construction of floor, beams, columns, piles, bricks, mortar, panels, plaster, then roadways, pathways, crossing, bridgeways, water, civil works like piers, docks, retaining wall, silos, warehouse, poles, so fencing, then agricultural product like warehouses, processing houses, then irrigation. So for different uses, we are using the cement as a construction material. So this is the end of the cement product. Next, we will discuss about the precast concrete product. Thank you.